we went through a period from about, right after we met the president, there was a 3 or 4 year period where Scott and a number of other friends of Rwanda, it was like a competition to see who could introduce Paul Kagame to the coolest person, you know. And they were CEOs, and they were Rick Warren, and they were presidents. But it was, you know, you never would have thought how significant that was, but it was enormously significant.
Absolutely.
And the network of friends that Rwanda has is one of its great competitive advantages.
Absolutely. And so the conversation we're having here is so important because I'm going to give Albert, I know you have a question. From his data points, right, it's so clear that the trajectory, right? But what people don't know is what did the president do? And that's what you're sharing with us. You're really unveiling what the secret sauce is. And the reason, and thank you for sharing, right? Because I want other countries represented here to take that back, that this is what it takes.
Yeah, so really key on that, and it's not only did he form this Presidential Advisory Council to get information. What did he do that in our eyes, because every piece of information we gave him, we already knew. What did he do in our eyes that changed the dynamic? Twice a year, he was willing to be held accountable by people who were watching the regulatory policies, the law, the tax, the corruption. He was willing to sit in a room twice a year and say, give me all you got that's not going right, and let me go back to work on 6 months, wow. Right? That accountability from the head of the country, you know this in a corporation, you know, everybody says, what makes a great CEO? The willingness to hear the bad news and the desire to hear it early. That's it. Everything else in a book is crap. That's it. He was willing to do that. So therefore, guys like us could say, okay, we know how to partner with that.
Thank you.
I've got a follow-up question on that. How can you guys help convince other African governments to see the transformation that you have helped take care of in Rwanda? Is there a way you guys can be maybe the voice for other African leaders to hear?
You're talking to the guy who just took a plant apart and put it in trailers and shipped it out of a country because they won't have the discussion, and they just create a law, say, here's the new law, this governs everything, no industry associating meetings, no process to hear the rules, to hear the impact of the rules, just this is the new rule, comply immediately. I complied by taking a saline torch to the plant, putting it in container ships and driving it to Rwanda. I hope he gets the message. You know, that's all I know to do. All I have is the little bit to decide over we have.
Yeah.
You know,
I also want to, could we get a mic? He raised his hand.
I would also say that we aren't the best people to influence African political leaders.
Wow.
Paul Kagame and the example of Rwanda is what motivates Africans and African leaders. So, you know, you need to underplay the role that we've had here. I mean, we got called into a great opportunity to have a lot of fun and have a lot of purpose and rewards. But everything that's happened in Rwanda is because of the Rwandan leaders and Rwandan people. And they're the model. And it's encouraging to me the fact that, you know, the president, Kagame, became the head of the AU. And they've just been able to make this big, you know, intercontinental trade deal. Is that I don't think he got into this role because people aren't noticing what's going on in Rwanda.
First of all, let me thank you all for this wonderful panel. This is probably the highest commitment to Africa panel I've heard in a long time. And I want to thank Toyin for really treating us to this delight. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I have one question, which is, you know, it's probably God's work to bring all of you together. But I'm sure you're not alone. How can we make sure a network is created around like-minded people like you in the USA, not only in Northwestern Arkansas, but but in the USA, to actually take the work you are doing, the fantastic work you're doing, to the next level.
So, that's a great one. If somebody could help me take note of that. David, please, can you help me take note of that? I'm going to say this, I think I've said it in private with you. Dale is the most influential, connected person I know in the world.
Amen. Donnie, I can testify to that.
He doesn't say it. He doesn't say it. He's very, quiet about it, but I know. I just want you to know I'm watching you. We can do it. We can do it. Behind each of them is wealth of information, experience, but a strong network. Donnie ran the world's first or second largest poultry business in the world. He knows everybody in that business. What I would love to do is, how can we tap into that network and point it in the right country that is ready? We know what's working in Rwanda, but we want to see serious players, serious countries. We